Welcome to game 2 of this best of 5, everyone. It is from the it's from the Go for SC2 Cup, and it's the monthly finals. I'm Madals, and these two players are incredible. If you've just come from game 1, I do apologise, but the recording for game number 1 cut off a couple of seconds too early, but basically the GG was called, and I managed to say, and Shuttle GG's out, and then it shut, so I couldn't do an outro, which really is only bad for my promotion, and that means you didn't get to see the splash screen, so where you could find me, but luckily, it's on screen all game long down here, so that's fine for me. Now, in terms of these two players, we've obviously got Shuttle spawning in the bottom right position as the Terran, and HyuN as the red Zerg in the top right. The map is Whirlwind, not forced cross spawns or anything like that. All spawn locations are possible, and that's why HyuN is sending the Overlord over, just to take a look in the top left, because that would be the worst spawn position really that he would want his opponent in, because then you suddenly end up getting very vulnerable to drops on this cliff platform. But oh, HyuN, he went for a temple. Oh, HyuN, no, it was even earlier than a temple. How early was that? Was it an April? Did he do an April? Oh, HyuN, you're gonna go and try and kill Shuttle, because Shuttle, he may just go, ladies and gentlemen, may go for a command center first. It wouldn't be uncommon on this map. Admittedly, the supply depot placement is a little bit unusual if you were going to go for a command center first, but not crazy. It could be a command center as part of the wall off. I'm just watching ever so closely. The spawning pool is about to finish. The Overlord on its way down here. He's going to rally those 6 Zerglings straight away. And those 6 Zerglings are going to try and kill. And here we go. Any second the command center is going to come down. But luckily for Shuttle, he built this command center as part of the wall off. That is such a massive thing for him, because now he can throw down a supply depot here, repair the wall off, and be absolutely safe. 8 Zerglings are on their way. We can see that the drone is going to come and scout this out, but the supply depot is about to go down. No, it's not even a supply depot, it's a barrack coming down. This is so ridiculously good for Shuttle, and yeah, he's so happy at the moment. He is just going to be over the moon, because even when this push comes, which HyuN has committed such a huge amount to, it's going to do nothing. There really isn't anything you can do about this, because you just pull a couple of SCVs and you're like, I can repair quicker than you can kill this wall. All's good. HyuN, he's pumping just so many Zerglings. How many? In total, he made 10 Zerglings, and he's going to come in and try and take this out. This is such a massive commitment. We can see that the work count is already 7 behind, nearly half the workers of his opponent. Absolutely, staggeringly far behind economically. He is starting to drone and does have his natural on its way. But there just isn't anything that you can do about this. You can't stop it, you can't really push in, and it's a build where you have to commit to it early on. And before he even got the scout off, he'd made the Zerglings, so these Zerglings are now just going to be containing softly, making sure that this command center doesn't float down for too long. But frankly, 2 orbital commands are going to come up first. You're going to rely on the mules for a while, and HyuN is without doubt behind economically. We can see that he's doing an extractor trick to pump out that drone. He's going to keep the extractor though anyway, because he could do with some gas. We can see the drone is coming back up. The Zerglings still sitting back there, just hoping that they're going to be able to delay the natural. But HyuN, he committed so much to this, and it's just not done anything for him. And it's literally done 0 damage. None. He's managed to waste 6... Well, actually, HyuN has lost 6 minerals, whereby Shuttle has actually lost 50. So he has had a single SCV killed, but still, that doesn't change anything. These Zerglings just going to sit around, trying to hide them out to the side, though, just so that this orbital command, when it does come down, you can run the Zerglings in and try and force it to lift again and just waste a little bit of time there. But for the moment, 2 Marines are out on the field. The Zerglings get a good look, see that there is indeed that factory coming down. The 1 gas gets a nice little look at what's there. The Zerglings managed to come in because the wall off broken by the fact the command center moved, and suddenly SCVs are going to have to get pulled in order to deal with this. There's no speed for these Zerglings. There's no gas down yet for HyuN. He's going to just try and get a couple of kills, but the Zerglings actually not faring too well. 2 workers were taken out there, and HyuN has now taken the lead in terms of the worker supply, but it's just not been enough yet. He was behind for a long period. These Zerglings are still going to keep harassing. Will take out this SCV, meaning the bunker can't get finished yet, but with 2 Marines there, there's just no way that you're going to be able to push through that with 3 Zerglings alone. So where does this leave us standing? Where does this sort of leave the game? The big thing is that HyuN, he is still mining a bit of gas. He does have that spawning pool down and speed on its way. So tech-wise, he's in an okay spot. But the bad side is that his drone count is significantly lower than he would have wanted. His natural hatchery was so much later than he would have had otherwise, and he hasn't done enough damage to justify it. He's actually lost more resources than his opponent while being behind economically. But with the double mule, Shuttle is still ahead in terms of the income, most likely. If we take a look here, yeah, gas income, Shuttle is way ahead because he's just happily mining with 3 SCVs in there as opposed to 1 drone for HyuN. And in terms of the mineral income, it's pretty equal at the moment still. And with these Widow Mines here, there's no way HyuN is going to easily be able to punch through with just Zerglings alone. He may get the Roach Warren down, but the difference to his build in Game 1, other than the 8 pull, is that he only is now just put back 3 workers into that gas geyser. He's been just having a trickle of it for the meantime in order to try and get a couple more units out, just trying to get a few more drones, get his minerals back up in order to try and catch up economically. The overlord placement, really nice. A couple of SCVs were just sitting back in case there was any follow-up push, but the Roach Warren is still only a third done at the moment for the Zerg player, and therefore not too much of a risk. A third command center very early out here, Stim also getting researched, and just a few Hellions getting pumped through. The double engineering bay is a very big shift in tactic from Shuttle. He's going without doubt for a nice little build of probably biomine most likely with some Hellions in there, because that is so incredibly strong at the moment in the current metagame. HyuN, he's taking his third base, he's also still just sitting on these 2 gas geysers, so no big commitment or anything there. Speed has finished for him. Here comes the 1-1 upgrades, and HyuN still once more is only, well, he is now committing to an evolution chamber, but until that point hadn't got an evo down. He is still only getting the single one, so unless he gets up to double evo chambers, he's going to get behind in upgrades very quickly indeed, and therefore it's going to be very difficult for him to engage in the mid and later stages. These Hellions doing a little bit of harassment, trying to be a little bit of a pain, do any damage that they can find and poke. Luckily, there's no drones here yet because the hatchery isn't finished, but it's a good scout out nonetheless for the Terran player that this third has been taken. It says a lot about what the Zerg player is doing. We've got the Baning Nest on its way down now, as well as the 3rd gas geyser. The 4th not yet started. The 3rd base is now finished. Roaches starting to move forward. This could be a big Roach Baneling bust through this wall, but with Widow Mines ever creeping forward, ever burrowing further out, it gets harder and harder to engage effectively when the Banelings just get taken out very quickly. These 2 Widow Mines are going to detonate on the Roaches, and as we can see, they neither die, but they do take a significant amount of damage. Meanwhile, the Hellions just running around pretty crazily. We see that the Evolution Chamber is researching +1 carapace for Zerg ground units. The Roaches are managing to cut off these Hellions, and therefore the Hellions will be forced back. They're no Hellbats, they can't engage those Roaches head up cost effectively, but yeah, this is all looking fairly nice now for Shuttle. He's getting his armory down ready for 2-2 to start. He's adding on a lot more barracks as well as that starport in order to start pumping medevacs. Baiting speed on its way for HyuN as well as Roach speed, so going for definitely a nice little timing window here. His 3rd base is done, and of course this macro hatch is now just on its way. In terms of the drone count, 64 to 48, so it's definitely going a bit more into HyuN's favour. Maybe not as much as he'd want to do, especially with the 3rd orbiter command already down. He's just got a good opportunity to, well, the 3rd orbiter command has actually now gone to the 3rd base as well, so not only does he have mules coming down for quite a while, the extra SCV production, but now he's got equal bases as HyuN, and HyuN has got to take his 4th, and he will take this one to the north center, because if he was expanding down here, he'd expand towards his opponent, and that would just be silly, wouldn't it? Now, this is just turning out to be a bit more of a standing game. We do have quite a few Roaches getting pumped out here, but HyuN, even though he's at the 63 drone mark, he's not insanely low. He's just going to go and try and do some damage with Baitlings as the 20 Zerglings start in their production. The Overseer, little changeling on its way forward, going to have a little peek at what is here. Knows the 3rd base is down, ultimately just due to the fact that there's so many units sitting. He could confirm it, and he sees now the bunker and everything else, so the supply depots rather, and that's when you know that definitely this is what's going to be occurring. We see the Zerglings are now hitting the field. 14 more are still on their way. Baiting speed and +1 carapace about to complete. That's up against the 1-1 upgrades already done for the Terran though. So an upgrade advantage there for Shuttle. HyuN has got to be careful with any engagement, but with Banelings, if he gets good connections, he should be fine. He can actually engage that relatively well. And it all comes down to the connections. And we see that with 8 Banelings morphing in, Shuttle is going for the big double drop of the creep tumor. Will spot it, therefore all of these units do unload in order to push that back, but a good cancel went down from HyuN there, so he still has the creep tumor active, which is really good for him, because that's clearly very beneficial. Now, ultimately, this drop has got to do quite a lot. In terms of defense, the Queens are starting to move forward. If they focus down a medevac, may be very, very good indeed, but the drop is coming down, boost being utilized very effectively. Meanwhile, the Roaches and Banelings are coming and pushing into the front, but so many Marines are here at the natural base. The Widow Mines doing some nice damage, and there's just a trail of them running forth, but with the Overseer up on the high ground, they do get focused down for the moment. The Banelings need to connect. The drop at the natural base slowly getting cleaned up. You can see the Queens taking quite a bit of damage. There's not enough energy for a transfuse on the high health one, so therefore the low health one gets a transfuse off on him. But so many SCVs are getting killed here. HyuN with a good supply advantage, just under a 60 supply advantage, is going to be probably pushing for the win, because the drop has finally got cleaned up, and therefore the Terran is not in a good position with so many Zerglings and Roaches in his base. 40 more Zerglings are in production as well. A lot of these SCVs have now been taken out. We can see the drop is trying to come back, but with only a drop full of units, it just isn't going to be enough. The infrastructure, the production facilities for the Terran player getting annihilated. Now, it's fair to say, the Widow Mines, any remaining units are going down. A lot of Banelings are there, but 2 Widow Mines put an end to all of them. Really nice for those Widow Mines. But Shuttle, he GG's out, and that was game number 2. So currently 2-0 up to HyuN. Flick over to my YouTube channel and see you at game number 3 any second.